OpenAI just announced a massive deal with AMD that could be upwards of $60 billion. Of course, that comes roughly a couple of weeks after OpenAI signed a deal with Nvidia that could be worth upwards of $100 billion. So these big deals with two rivals have investors asking which one is the better stock to buy, Nvidia or AMD. So the first metric I wanted to compare these two on is revenue growth, and you can see Nvidia separating itself from AMD in 2022 when its revenue soared from 27 billion all the way up to 165 billion. AMD's revenue has been growing nicely also, but compared to Nvidia, it looks like small fries. AMD's revenue has increased from 5 billion to 29.6 billion. That's good for a compounded annual rate of 23.5% over the previous decade. Nvidia has nearly doubled that with a compounded annual growth rate of 44.5%. Now, these new deals announced with OpenAI will help both AMD and Nvidia. OpenAI is a customer of both. OpenAI actually purchases and utilizes more of NVIDIA's products than it does AMD's, and it's hoping to reduce its reliance on NVIDIA chips by making this deal with AMD. So this deal wasn't a matter of, in my opinion, AMD's chips being better than NVIDIA's chips. It's a matter of OpenAI reducing its reliance on NVIDIA. It's become a huge risk for OpenAI with such a dependence on NVIDIA's technology, so it wanted to reduce that risk by making a deal with AMD. All of these large hyperscalers want a strong second place option so that NVIDIA cannot command such strong pricing power, such strong negotiating power. Of course, NVIDIA is flexing its power. Its gross profit margins are approaching 75%, which is unheard of for a company that sells mostly hardware. So that's why these companies, I see them going towards AMD a little more over the next few years to reduce their reliance on NVIDIA. And that can be great news for AMD. The next thing I wanted to compare these two on is the return on invested capital. And again, NVIDIA separated itself from AMD, soaring its ROIC from 24.8% all the way up to 142%, which is the best ROIC I can think of off the top of my head of any company that I'm following. Returns on invested capital of this magnitude are not very sustainable. Competition usually comes in when they see you're generating this kind of return on invested capital. Click the link below to watch the full video.